It is 8:37 on WMAL, where Washington comes to talk. You're listening to Mornings on the Mall with Brian and Larry. I'm Larry O'Connor alongside Brian Wilson, and joining us right now, as he often does when we're lucky here at 8:30 on WMAL, it's Larry Kudlow from CNBC. Hey, Larry.
Good morning. Good morning.
So during the Wall Street Journal report that we have every day at 45 minutes after the hour yesterday, we learned that the first quarter economic numbers were downgraded to some pretty awful results. What was it? A nearly 3% shrinkage in the first quarter. Is this an anomaly? Is this winter weather? Or is this a harbinger of bad things going on in our economy right now?
Yeah, I just want to say something on this. I listened to a lot of my conservative friends on radio and TV make a big deal about this number. And there's so little content to this number. Everybody knows that most of it was bad weather. And then as regarding the revision yesterday, the glitch was, consumers spent less on health care spending. And that's all there is to it. The numbers coming in on a monthly basis after the weather got better, which has been March and April, and we're going to get May's numbers coming up soon. We're all pretty good. We're all pretty good when you look at the jobs numbers and the ISM numbers and the durable goods numbers and the jobless claims numbers. What you see is an economy snapping back from the weather, and you're probably going to get, 3.5% in the second quarter or some such thing. I guess it bothered me to see conservatives politicize what is so obviously some skewed data points. Okay, I want to make that point. I have often written in recent years how conservatives put their political glasses on rather than any economic objective glasses to look at some of the numbers coming in and to listen to some of the commentary yesterday. You'd think we were going back into a depression. And it bothers me because I think it misleads people really badly. And so I want to make that comment. The only thing new yesterday's number that made it worse was this health care spending number, which, frankly, I think has no relevance to anything. I mean, there's a health care issue. We have Obamacare. And my criticisms of Obamacare have been very harsh and will remain harsh because I think it's a terrible program. But just to look at this GDP report and to draw any conclusions from it is just utter nonsense.
Well, I'm glad to have your perspective on this because it was very concerning to me when I said nearly 3%. That seemed like a lot. But tell me, Larry, why is it always that we're getting these revisions? I mean, initially they said it shrank by 1%. Then they come back and now they say 3%. Why is it so hard to get this number right?
Well, I mean, look, it's an inexact. The more data comes in, you have to understand, the first cut, the so-called preliminary cut, is a superficial number. That's a lot of data is missing. And they go back and they collect more data and they put it into their econometric models. And they do it, 3 times. And then you get a more accurate picture of the economy itself. And I think that's very wise. That's what the Commerce Department has to do. That's what the Bureau of Economic Analysis has to do. But again, you're supplemented by monthly data coming in, which paint an entirely different picture and shows that key areas of this thing, mainly the jobs picture, I think is important, and also the consumer spending picture is important. And as I said also, the ISM reports are probably the best single snapshot of the real-time economy. And the ISMs have, gotten progressively better. Now, I'm not making a case that the economy is booming. I've been very critical. This economy has grown at, 2.2, 2.3%. It's
tepid.
Worst recovery, right. Worst recovery since World War II. And there are good reasons for that, it seems to me, because there's too much regulation out there, including Obamacare. Tax policy, corporate tax rates are way too high. Regulations are way too strong, way too complex. And businesses are holding back in terms of their investment spending, and that has slowed down jobs. So it's not a solid economy. But to just take this one isolated number, and talk about the worst drop in 50 years is just not right. It misleads investors and misleads ordinary people, and it doesn't provide the kind of, I think, accurate information or informed analysis that people should have. So it troubles me. It troubles me a lot, and then it troubles me also as I watch people go down this road into this incredibly pessimistic take on the economy. It's not true. I mean, one thing going on here is that despite very poor macro policies from Washington, the business sector, which is predominantly a free market sector, has actually done pretty well. It's been very resilient. It's been making money. Despite a lot of headwinds, it has been creating, 190, 200,000 jobs a month. It ought to be 300,000 jobs a month. We ought to be at least 1% better overall on GDP. But we're not going down the chute into another terrible recession, and that's the impression one would get by listening to certain conservative. They're not analysts; they're just radio talk people and some on TV. It's not near that bad. It's not near that bad.
This is why we have you on, Larry Kudlow, to set everybody straight.
There's too much bloody pessimism going on here, okay? Right. A few changes, which are coming, because the political situation is moving more favorably. A few changes towards more free market capitalist policies, lower regulations, for example, lower corporate tax rates, for example, stopping the banks from being overregulated by Dodd-Frank, can get us back to 3.5%. This is eminently doable. I worked for Ronald Reagan, who used to say, heck, things are pretty bad now, and they were in 1981, but here's how we're going to get out of this. And here's how America is going to prosper and become great again, and we will have an exceptional economy.
An optimistic outlook on it all.
That's correct.
Well, we got to leave it right there. Larry Kudlow, thank you so much for joining us.
All right, sorry to just bang away on it.
No, it's good stuff. I always learn something when you're on. Thanks a lot, Larry.